everybody, it's Eric at Aquanuga. In today's video, we will be taking a look at the cleaning of the ProLine Hy-Drive pumps. These do come in several different sizes. They may vary just slightly in terms of the physical size and what the discharge looks like, but the cleaning is going to be the same for all models of the Hy-Drive pumps. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to access the pump itself. It is encased in this screen cage, and to do so, we're going to first pull off the 6 rubber stoppers that access the screws for separating the cage. It's quite possible some of the stoppers have gotten lost over time. That happens to a lot of people. In fact, this one that I'm looking at now does only have 3 of these rubber stoppers. And we'll set those aside. That allows access to the 6 screws that hold the cage together. Phillips screwdriver, inserted down in there, and we'll start removing those. Now with all 6 screws loosened, we can take the cage apart. Don't lose the screws. Right now I've got these sitting down in here. One of the things you're going to want to do is if there's any debris around the screen itself is we can rinse that off. A bucket of water, you can kind of rinse that, or you can knock it gently on the ground, something along those lines. But that is accessing now the pump itself. And we have some more unscrewing to do. We have more screws holding the volute onto the motor, and this is going to allow us to get to the rotor. That's usually what's going to need to be cleaned regularly. When I say regularly, we're generally talking about once, maybe twice a year, depending on how hard your water is. The harder, the more minerals may be in your water, the more buildup you may get on this rotor. There are nuts on the back of this, so be careful as you're unscrewing these not to lose those. Now with all of those loosened, we can take the volute off. And then we're going to find the rotor itself here. And if this has a lot of buildup on it, it may be hard to pull out, but we're just going to slide this out. We're going to clean this, and we're going to clean the interior cavity that the rotor slides into. And what's going to work best here is just some regular household vinegar. Pour a little bit in a small bucket. For the rotor itself, generally take a little scouring pad, dip that in the vinegar, and just do a fairly gentle brush of that rotor. And that's going to clean up any buildup, whether it's pond debris or, again, those mineral deposits, calcium, lime, anything like that. And then we'll rinse it off. If this doesn't get clean just from a gentle brush with the vinegar, you may want to soak it in the vinegar for an hour or so, and you can do the same thing with the pump itself. But once we've got that clean, then we'll tackle the cavity here as well. Little bottle brush can work well for that, dipped in the vinegar and worked around in there. You can also take your scouring pad and work that around, and we'll rinse that. And we're all clean. Then it's just a matter of reassembling, doing the opposite of how we disassembled. The rotor will need to line up with the 2 little notches on here so that it sits firmly in place. Sometimes that will take a little bit of finagling to get it where you need. There we go. Line this up so that all the screws line up with the screw holes. Put our nuts in, tighten the screws down. When we're putting the pump back in, the intake portion here will need to rest against this little lip. You'll see that. Make sure the discharge is pointing vertically, and then you can slide the cage back in place. Now we do have this rubber stopper right here, which needs to be going into this hole right here. And with everything lined up, we're then ready to screw everything back in place. And then we can put any stoppers that we haven't lost back over those screw holes. Really, that's just helping keep debris out of there so the screw heads don't get stopped up. And then the pump's ready to go back in the pond good as new. This really will help increase the lifespan of the pump. If we're not doing that, that buildup on the rotor can cause that to seize up and generally overheat, just not last as long. So proper care, you got a much longer life of the pump. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day.